Hello, welcome. We are live. 5 p.m. Vinyasa Yoga starts right now. So if you are tuning in, welcome. So excited to have everybody today. Today's class is going to be a deep twists class. That's going to be really good for the low back and the abductor muscles. So it's going to be a pretty active, fast-paced vinyasa flow to get all of our inner fire going on kind of this gloomy New England day. So we're going to get started right now. Find a child's pose at the back of your mat. I recommend today a wide legs child's pose. So knees out, super wide, the width of the mat. We're gonna give some other folks a couple minutes to join, but we're gonna get started right away. Hold on, the Zoom people, yes. So super wide, the width of your mat, toes tucked together underneath you. You can extend arms out wide towards the top corners of your mat. Palms can press down into the mat. And then from here, each inhale tries to extend you a little longer through the spine. And then each exhale sinks hips down a little farther towards the mat. And I encourage you to stretch your arms out a little wider today, maybe a little wider than you normally do. Really open up that space around the neck, around the shoulder blades. And then from here, checking in with the breath, checking in with where we are with the breath today, what we're anticipating. Are you waiting for class to get going so you can start moving and being active because you've been cooped up all day? Or are you having a lazy day where you feel like you hope this child's pose lasts forever? Wherever you are, try to balance it out with the breath, trying to focus in on the present moment. So measuring the length of your inhales and exhales, maybe starting to count them out. At first, not changing what they naturally settle at. So they might be different with each cycle of breath. They might start to slow down or speed up. Hi, welcome. And then once you have all of that, maybe starting to elongate your exhales. We want the exhales to last longer than the inhales. This is a scientifically proven form of breathing. If you do this, slowing down of the breath and the slowing down specifically of the exhales to elongate them longer than the inhales, it has an effect on your nervous system where it automatically calms the nerves and anxiety. It's proven to help focus in a lot of different situations. So if you're going back to work after this, or if you have a day where you're gonna get into some stressful work, you might practice this breath for even as little as 2 minutes was proven to have an effect. So practice that here now for this moment. And then here in this position, this wide legs child's pose with arms reaching towards the top corners of your mat, we're gonna start to make this posture more active. So start to walk your fingers up, forward, and wider, reaching them towards the top corners of your mat, so much so that elbows start to lift off the corner of your mat. Off of the mat. So you keep that forehead down, but your elbows are up off of the mat. Maybe here pressing palms into the mat to push hips back farther towards the back of your space. Inhale here to sink even a little farther back towards the heels. And then inhale, just shift forward, coming into a tabletop position. So tabletop position, a lot of teachers will cue shoulders above wrists. I like to cue shoulders above palms of your hand. It just helps to center the balance of the upper body, not just onto the wrists, but distributed evenly between the weight of the palms, between the corners of the palms. And then from this posture, you can either tuck or untuck your toes, but we're gonna take a cow pose. So inhale to drop the belly, Point the tailbone and the face up towards the sky. Maybe think about rotating shoulders back and down, seeing how high up on the sky you can see. Pressing into the fingers, pressing into the palms, the finger pads of the palms. Take another breath here. See if you can drop the belly and the belly button even farther down towards the ground. And then exhale to round through the spine, moving into a cat position, dropping the weight of the head, shaking it yes, shaking it no, dropping the tailbone down towards your knees, pausing here again, seeing if you can round through the back to get the mid-back farther up towards the sky, and then check in, see if because we're rounding the spine, you shifted your weight more forward towards the front of the room. If you did, just negotiate your shoulders back over the palms. Just engage through the low abdomen a little bit more. See if you can look up and see your own belly button, and then exhale back to neutral spine. And then from here, your inhale and your exhale moving through that cow and that cat, just starting to warm up the backside body. Maybe making it a little bit experimental, shifting hips side to side or spinning fingers back towards your knees. A couple of quick things here at the top of class. I see a lot of regulars on the Zooms. Hello. So you already know this, but I'm going to cue this class without music. So if you prefer to practice to music, now's the time to set up that playlist and to get your volume levels straight and set up. And then a couple of things, just because we are remote and we are virtual, I can't see everyone as well as I would in a studio. So everyone is responsible for their own health and well-being. So I hope that you are tracking that as we move into what's going to be some very challenging postures today. We're going to build up to them, but if you get to a pose where you find yourself at what feels like your edge, and I offer an option that is deeper in flexibility or strength, please, please, please take that pose very slowly and consciously. You can always, always, always take a child's pose if you're in a position and it feels like it might cause you an injury or it just doesn't feel right for any reason. Send me a message afterwards. People have been doing that. I love it. I love talking through postures. If you find a modification that works for you, then you can do that pose. Otherwise, we'll work on it for the future. And then last thing, we aren't in yoga studios, so if you have makeshift props, now's a good time to grab them too. So blankets are always nice to help to work with as bolsters, or blocks. Instead of blocks, you might have like a chair or a random table or a ledge or something, a footstool, books, whatever you have. And then as far as straps, some people, I like to recommend like an old t-shirt or a hand towel, whatever you might have. And then from here, we've been cat and cowing for a little while, so we're going to come back to neutral spine. Tuck the chin a little bit, press into the tops of your hands to engage the low abs. Feel that length through your spine, and then inhale, sweep right arm up and open towards the right side, looking up over lifted right shoulder, seeing if you can twist into that hand, and then exhale to thread that arm underneath the body. That's called, oh my gosh, the lampshade just fell. Oh my God, deal with this after. Oh, that scared me. That didn't scare anyone else. Oh man, it's a crazy day. We're coming into that threaded needle pose. Back of your right hand comes down to the mat. Left palm comes down to the mat. Sink hips back towards your heels. Maybe walk left fingertips forward towards the front of your space. I also, in a freak occurrence, broke my phone today. So it's just everything's falling apart today. It's just must be some sort of like, I've got to check my horoscope after this to see if it says, Dear Capricorns, today everything in your life will break. If so, I'm gonna have to get my astrology game set up. We're in this threaded needle pose. Hips keep sinking back down towards your heels. Back of your right hand presses down into the mat. Letting the right cheek drop down into the mat. Sinking hips back farther. You have the option to walk left fingertips over towards the right side or to snake left arm behind the back, grabbing for the inside of right thigh. Take one more breath here, and then you're going to press the left hands down into the mat in front of your nose, and inhale to sweep right arm back up towards the sky, looking over lifted shoulder. Inhaling fully, and then exhale, right hand comes back down to the mat. We're in that tabletop position again, and from here, another round of cat and cow, and then meeting back in that neutral spine. Inhale, lift left arm up towards the sky, looking over left shoulder, pressing into right palm to look up over left shoulder and get a little farther into the twist if possible, and then exhale, sweep that left arm under the body, sinking hips back towards the heels, left cheek can come down to the mat, right palm presses down into the ground, and then maybe walking right fingertips forward towards the front of your space. Maybe moving farther into it by walking right fingertips over towards the left side of the mat, looking up and under right armpit. If all of that feels good, you're always welcome to go for the half line, sweeping right arm up and behind your back. Grabbing for the inside of left thigh. Full shoulder stretch here. Try not to break anything as you come into this posture. It's my new mantra for today's class. Oh my God. Looking up over lifted right shoulder, and then exhale to sink hips farther down towards the heels. Inhale, one more breath, and then exhale. Can't stop cracking up. Fresh right palm down to the mat in front of your nose. Inhale to unwind, left arm towards the sky, and then exhale, left hand comes down to the mat. Inhale, tuck the toes, press back into downward facing dog. You can pedal out the feet, bending one knee and then the other, or taking little hops, or rolling out the ankles and the toes. Maybe walking feet forward towards the top of the mat. See what the hamstring flexibility is today, and then walking them back. We're going to be playing a lot with hamstring flexibility today, so it might be a nice check-in to do that. You might mirror that again at the end of class. And then from here, we did this yesterday, but somebody said they really liked it. Shout out to Nicole. We're going to bend just the right knee a lot. So you're coming onto the tippy toes of the right foot, but you're sinking left heel back towards the ground. You're keeping left leg super straight. And then it's as if someone is lightly pressing into your right heel, negotiating your body to lean over towards the left. So you're leaning your whole body over towards the left side, the straight leg side of the mat. See what kind of stretch you get there. For me, this is a deep outer hip flexor stretch. For some people, shout out Nicole, it's a really deep calf stretch. You might feel it in the hamstrings. You might feel it even in the interior groin area. Take another breath here, and then exhale, switch to the opposite side. So again, keeping that right leg this time super straight, left knee bends a lot, and then you're pressing hips over towards the right side. And it's not just straight over to the right, it's a little bit like towards the back of the mat, towards the right and towards the back. So you lean over and then you kind of keep pressing back into those hips. Taking one more breath, maybe thinking about that breath gathering in that area where you feel that tension and stretch, and then exhale back to center. And then inhale, right leg straight back towards the back of your space. Exhale, stack the hips. Take 3 circles with your right foot. And then take 3 in the opposite direction. Make them nice and big. Really go high up if possible. And then meeting back on an inhale to kick that right leg straight back. Exhale, plant the right foot on the outside of right hand. Bring left heel down. Inhale, lift that right arm up towards the sky. Inhale, full breath. Nice, those look great. Even wider if you can, looking over lifted shoulder. And then exhale, right hand comes down inside the mat. Inhale to lift the back knee, puff up the chest towards the front of your space, and then exhale to plant left foot at the top of the mat. Try to keep feet about hips width distance. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Sink the hips back, coming through a little mini chair pose on the inhale, and then exhale, standing up into mountain pose, looking up, maybe even a little bit back, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step one foot back and then the other. Pause in upper push-up plank position. And then bring knees, chest, and chin down to the mat. Looking forward towards the front of your space. And then inhaling to pull forward, coming into baby cobra pose. So your hips come down to the mat. Then you inhale to lift and press your heart space forward towards the front of your room. And then you exhale, over bent knees, tucking toes, coming back into downward facing dog. And from here, next inhale, lifts left leg up towards the back of your space. And then exhale to stack that left hip on top of right and make 3 giant circles in one direction with those left toes. And when you're done with those 3, we're going to even it out, go the opposite direction with the toes. And then inhale to kick straight back. Exhale, plant the left toes in place of left hand. Bring back knee down to the mat. And then lift left arm up towards the sky. Looking over, lifted left shoulder. Opening up that heart space more towards the sky if possible. Really pressing into that right palm to stretch open through the heart. And then exhale, left palm presses down to the mat. Tuck the toes, lift that back knee. Inhale to puff up your chest towards the front of your space. Exhale, right foot meets left at the top of the mat. Inhale to sink hips down, coming into that chair pose. Exhale to stand up, puff up the chest, look up, maybe even a little bit back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, press the palms, press the feet back. Pause in upper push-up plank. Here you've got the option to stick with that caterpillar pose that we did last time, knees, chest, and chin down. Or you have the option to intensify by moving into a chaturanga or a lower push-up plank. So coming down halfway, hugging elbows into the body, looking forward the entire time, and then inhaling to puff up your chest forward towards the front of the room. Amazing, and you're pressing the tops of your feet down into the mat so much so that your knees are floating up off of the ground, right? That's the difference. My knees are not on the ground at all, and you're pressing into all of the fingers of your hands, so you're not dumping weight into the wrists. You're really engaging through the hands and the arms. I know we're holding it for a little while. It's a really, really nice chest opener and a little bit of a back bend here. And now we're gonna exhale to press back into downward facing dog. Awesome, and then from here, inhale, right leg kicks back towards the back of your space. Exhale, drag that knee up to the midline of the body, rounding the spine, dragging that knee in towards the forehead so that you might be able to silently place that right foot in place of right hand. From here, you're gonna rotate back heel down, rise up, warrior one, right side. Amazing, sink nice and low into this warrior one, square hips towards the front of your space. Inhale, one big breath, and then exhale, peel open, warrior two. From here, hips are now square towards the left side of the room. You're looking over right fingertips and right shoulder towards the front of your space. Your front knee, your front leg is still in that 90-degree angle with your right knee over right ankle. Back leg is super straight. Taking one more breath here. Exhaling to sink a little lower. And then inhale, flip the front palm. Reach that front palm forward, forward, forward. And then exhale to tilt back, coming into what's called reverse warrior. Reaching those right fingertips up towards the sky. And really reach them. Don't just lift the arm. There's a big difference between lifting the arm and really reaching so you feel the stretch all along tricep and right side body while staying low in the lunge. For one more big ol' breath, and then exhale, windmill the palms, step right foot back, kick that right foot back, and then you have another option here, right? So you might take the caterpillar, you might stick with that or take a break and take that. You might take that lower push-up plank, or if you'd like to challenge yourself even farther, you have the option to do a three-legged down dog, where you come down halfway still, but that right leg stays up in the air the entire time until it meets left in upward facing dog. And then you exhale, pressing back into downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg kicks straight back towards the back of your space. Exhale, drag that left knee up the midline of the body. It's core work here. We're rounding the spine. We're trying to bring our forehead in towards our left knee and then silently step that left foot in place of left hand. Back heel rotates down. Rise up, warrior one, left side. Exhale to peel open, warrior two, left side. So again, it's that warrior two. Now our hips are square towards the right side of our space. Really reach with front and back hands, with front and back fingertips. So we're not just lifting the arms, we're really stretching towards the back of our space and stretching towards the front of our space. See how that lights up all of the muscles all along your biceps, triceps, and shoulders, opening up through those shoulder blades. Really inhale to sink a little deeper and stretch the space between your shoulder blades. And then exhale, sink a little deeper. Next inhale, flip just that front palm. Reach that arm, tilt the upper body forward, forward, forward. There's nowhere else you can go forward, so you start to tilt up and back, coming into that reverse warrior, that peaceful warrior, that humble warrior. But we stay low in that warrior two legs stance, right? And then we're reaching with the left fingertips, so much so that you feel that stretch through your armpit, through your left side ribs. Right hand is not really holding any weight. It's just helping us stay nice and stable. We inhale for one more breath, and then we exhale to windmill the palms down. Step that left foot back. Maybe it stays hovered up off the mat as you take a flow. Then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. From here, inhale, right leg kicks back towards the back of your space. Exhale, replace right hand on the mat with right foot. Bring back knee down. Peel open right heart towards the sky. Right hand lifts, right? We're in the same revolved twist that we were in earlier. We have the option here to build farther into it. So I invite you to push your flexibility, to push your strength a little bit with us. Inhale, tuck the back toes, lift the left knee. So now you've got right leg stays in that 90-degree angle, but back leg is lifted and straight towards the sky. The back of your knee is lifting up towards the sky. We're in high lunge legs with this revolved twist. Now this is challenging. You might have to take the alternate version, but if you can, you're going to want to tilt your whole body up to upright position, keeping this revolved option, this revolved arms position. So you're going to want to keep looking over, keep your gaze strong over those right fingertips as you start to tilt up. Coming into a revolved high lunge position. If that is too difficult and it's very challenging, you might take the alternate version of just bringing right hand down to the mat, rising up into high lunge, and then building the twist from here. Everyone come nice and low into your lunge in that front leg, straighten back leg. Take one more breath here, and then exhale, sweep right arms forward, back in that high lunge. hips square towards the front. Big inhale, now press palms together, bring palms down to heart center, puff up your chest, and we're gonna exhale back into a revolved high lunge this time. So left elbow comes to the outside of right leg, pressing top hand into bottom hand. You might have to bring that back knee back down to the mat to set this up. You might set it up on the ground and then realize you might have a little bit more oomph in you to tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. If you're in this revolved twist and you can get your thumbs to be centered over your heart space, then it means that you're ready to unpeel the arms coming into airplane wings in this revolved twist. If all of that feels good, then maybe you drop top arm behind the back, snaking bottom arm underneath, going for a bind. You might grasp for closed. You might just have the half bind with the top arm down. Wherever you are, take another breath to look over right shoulder. And then we're gonna exhale to unwind, bring palms down inside of right leg on the mat and kick right leg back, moving through a flow. We'll be back in downward facing dog. Awesome. Inhale, left leg kicks straight back towards the back of your space. Exhale, left foot replaces left hand. Back knee comes down to the mat. Peel left arm up towards the sky. We're in this low lunge twist again, looking over left fingertips here, and then maybe tucking back toes to lift right knee, coming into a high lunge, supported twist here. And then you have the options again, right? Maybe you bring left hand down outside of left foot and just rise up. Or if you want to take the challenge transition, you're keeping a really strong gaze over left fingertips as you slowly, like you're moving through molasses, tilt up, coming to that revolved twist, high lunge. Wherever you are in that twist, think about your shoulders being over your hips. For a lot of us, it means pulling your left fingertips even farther back towards the back of the space. Then check in on your lunge legs. Yes, everyone can come in deeper. And then straighten through that back leg again. Take one more breath, you can do it. And then exhale, twist back to center. Both arms reach straight up, big full breath. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Maybe you stick with this high lunge as you come into the revolved twist, right elbow to the outside of left knee, pressing top hand into bottom hand. Maybe you bring that back knee down to the mat and you stick with that supported low lunge twist. If you have the flexibility to open up arms into airplane wings, I invite you to do so. If you want to move towards the half bind by dropping top arm behind the back, you're welcome to do so. If you want to go for that full bind, now is the time. If you've got the grip of the hands, you're using that grip to pull your heart more towards the sky. If you don't have it, you're still using right elbow pressing into left knee to press your heart up more towards the sky for one last breath. And then exhale, release, bring the palms down inside of left foot, kick that front foot back, and then you move through whichever flow works for you. And this might be a good time to take a child's pose break. If you find that your breath is held or choppy, please do take a little breather right here. Meet back up with us whenever you're ready to move again. Inhale, right leg kicks straight back. Exhale, right foot replaces right hand. Back heel rotates down. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, peel open, warrior two. Inhale, flip the front palm and reach forward. Exhale, tilt backwards into peaceful warrior. Inhale, straighten right leg. You've got two straight legs now. You're in what's called reverse triangle pose. You've got one big long line of energy from right toes all the way through right fingertips. Really reach far and away with those right fingertips. And then from here, we're moving into triangle. So tilting that upper body forward, bringing right hand either to right thigh or to right calf, not calf, shin, or to the floor, coming into triangle. But this is a posture where a lot of folks during class will use blocks. So you might use blocks, you might use like a ledge or whatever else you have for a little bit of stability and support. Or if you don't have blocks handy, I think this is actually a posture where people use blocks as a little bit of a crutch for learning the actual alignment of the pose. So I invite everyone, if you're anyone who's not fingertips on the ground, triangle posture, let's all come back up. Put hands on your hips. Square hips more towards the left side. Front toes, right toes are straight towards the front of your space. Left toes are straight over towards the left side of your space. So the feet are perpendicular. Square hips over towards the left side of the space. So naturally they're going to be a little bit like twisted towards the front. Put the hands on the hips, rotate them straight over to the left. From here, keeping this rotation, start to bump. Use a little bit of pressure of your right hand onto your right hip to bump your right hip back into your left hip. See how you get down even just a little bit and you start to feel that hamstring stretch. You might put a little bit of a tiny bend in that front right knee. See how that changes the point of focus for the stretch there. And then wherever you are with that stretch, maybe your hips are still square, but what's your heart doing? Are you pointing your heart down towards the ground? We want our heart to be straight over towards the left side of the space, maybe even a little bit up towards the sky to help keep that alignment. And then we come down even farther. Each inhale, you stretch long through the spine from tailbone out through the top of your head. And each exhale, yes, this alignment looks awesome. And then from there, maybe you start to bring right hands down to right thigh or right shin, continuing to use that pressure of right hand on your body or on the ground to rotate heart space up towards the side and maybe the sky. Take one more really nice cycle of breath here, and then exhale to tilt back up. Come back into warrior two. So bending through that right knee again, right fingertips looking over them. Take one more breath to sink a little lower into the posture, tucking tailbone, releasing shoulders, and then exhale, windmill the palms down. Step that front foot, right foot back, and move through whichever version of the flow you prefer today. We'll meet back in that downward facing dog, and we'll even it out on the left side. So inhale, left leg kicks straight back. Exhale, drag that left knee up the midline of the body. We're always trying to silently replace left hand with left foot on the mat. Rotate back, heel down. Rise up, warrior one, left side. And then exhale to peel open. Warrior two, left side. Inhale to flip that front palm and reach, tilt forward, forward, forward. And then exhale to tilt back. Coming into that peaceful warrior, left side. And then from here, you're sinking low in the lunge and you're reaching for the fingertips, but on your next exhale, you straighten left leg, two straight legs. We're in this reverse triangle posture, really reaching left fingertips away from left toes, and then exhale to tilt upper body forward into that triangle posture. Again, maybe you bring the hips to the hands to the hips to help keep that alignment, to help keep that squaring. Another version of this pose or another modification of this pose is to just bring your back foot in a little closer. You toe heel it in a little bit. It might change the point of stretch for you. If you'd like to go farther into the posture, if triangle feels good to you and you've got fingertips on the ground maybe, then maybe you bring the top arm behind your back, going for a bind. Right fingertips come to the inside of left thigh. We're looking up over lifted right shoulder. And again, it's like we're trying to press front hip into back hip for one more breath here. And then exhale, come back up. Come back into warrior two. So we're bending through that left front knee, looking over left fingertips for one more breath. And then exhale to windmill the palms. Step that left foot back and move through a flow. Boom it back in downward facing dog. From here, we're inhaling, right leg kicks straight back. Exhale, right foot replaces right hand on the mat. Back knee comes down. Inhale, sweep open right fingertips towards the sky. We've been here before. Exhale, right hand comes to the outside of right foot. Tuck toes, back leg lifts. Maybe you reach that right arm up towards the sky again to tilt up into that revolved high lunge. And then inhale, sweep right arm forward and up. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Inhale to elongate the spine, and then exhale, left elbow to the outside of right knee. We've been here before, right? We're right back into the twist. So remember wherever it was that you found your edge last time, meet us back at that point. And this is a tricky transition. Wherever you are, whether you're in the bind, whether you're in the twist, with the palms pressing, going for that twist, we're gonna move to bring our back foot, our left foot, up next to our right foot at the top of the mat. So I'm gonna talk us through that. And the goal is to keep that contact of your left elbow to the outside of right knee. If you lose it, you come back into it. We're just going from here basically into a revolved chair twist, a revolved chair position. If you have the bind, you're trying to keep the bind. Otherwise, you're just keeping that revolved twist position. So you're gonna do this first with the gaze. Look down towards your right big toe. From there, make sure that back leg is super straight. Make sure that heel is nice and high. Rock a little forward towards the front of your space. Bring those left toes up onto the tippy toes. And then from there, as many steps as it takes to come to the top of your mat. So now we're in this revolved chair twist at the top of our mat. If you have the bind, you're trying to keep the bind. If you have just the contact in the twist, same thing. You're gently shifting weight onto your left foot as you start to bring right heel up off of the mat. As you start to bring right toes up off of the mat, as you start to straighten through left leg, coming to stand with that right knee bent in, with that right foot flexed a lot. If you have the bind, maybe you keep it as you start to straighten right leg towards the front of the room, as you start to look over right shoulder. If you have just the twist, you've got your palms pressing against this like crazy lifted knee, and then you're starting to do the same thing, straighten that front leg, that lifted right leg towards the front of your space. If you have that and you've got a pretty straight leg, you might start to reach for the outside of right calf or ankle, or maybe even you have the grip of the outside of right foot with left hand as right arm reaches straight forward towards the back of your space, looking over lifted right shoulder, really straightening, pressing through that lifted heel, reaching back with that right arm. If you don't have any of that, maybe that you're just bringing your left hand to the outside of right thigh. One more breath, and then exhale, release, come back to center. You can bring the right foot down for a second. And then from here, inhale, sweep the arms forward and up, mountain pose, look up, maybe even a little bit back. Exhale, forward fold. Pause here for a second. We're gonna do gorilla pose, it's called. I love the name of this pose. It's just one of those poses that you do it and someone's like, oh, gorilla. And you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And then 1 second later, you're like, wait, kind of does. So it kind of just looks like a gorilla. You're gonna bring your hands down to the mat, the backs of your hands down, fingers pointing back towards your toes. Like this. And then you're gonna slide your palms
underneath your feet. So you're stepping on your own palms. From here, you're exhaling to start to straighten legs. And you're trying to always rock the weight of your feet forward so that someday maybe you come up onto tippy toes of your feet, of your standing feet. If you don't have straight legs, that's totally, totally fine. You can keep the bend knee and just keep pressing into your heels, going towards straight legs. If you do have straight legs, then you're bending elbows out towards the sides. Or you're playing with that tippy toe posture for one more breath. Doesn't this look like a gorilla? Like gorillas are always like dragging their knuckles on the ground as they like leap across the jungle. You can exhale to release, maybe swing back and forth a little bit. Plant the palms, step left foot back and then right, and then move through your flow. We're gonna balance that out on the other side. So inhale, left leg kicks straight back towards the back of your space. Exhale, left foot replaces left hand. Silently, back knee comes down to the mat. Left arm peels up towards the sky. Inhaling to look over, lifted left shoulder. And then from there, you've got the option to either bring left hand down to the outside of left foot to set up the high lunge and then move into the twist, or keep that left arm up, tuck the back toes to lift the back knee, and then tilt upward, coming into that revolved twist, high lunge in that more challenging way. From here, sweep left arm forward towards the front of the room. Exhale, palms come down to heart center. Puff up the chest. Exhale, right elbow to the outside of left knee. Looking over left shoulder. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, move farther into it, either coming into the bind or the twist. And we're gonna move from this posture into that revolved chair position. So check in with where you are. How did it go last time? Do you wanna maybe come into the gentler version of the twist to try if it's a little smoother on this side? Or did you find that it was easier than you thought and you wanna move deeper into the posture? Either way, we're starting to move into that transition by starting with the gaze. Gaze comes down towards the left toe this time. Inhale, and then it's on the exhale that you step that right foot up to meet the left. So wherever you are, bind or that right elbow into left knee, you're starting to shift the weight over to the right leg this time as the left heel comes off the mat, as the ball of left foot comes off the mat, as left toes start to float up off the mat. You come up, flexing left foot, and then from here, you maybe start to extend through left leg towards the front of the space, peeling open arms so that left arm comes back towards the back of your space. Right hand can come forward to the outside of left foot. Or if that's too challenging, you keep right hand on the outside of bent left thigh, using that contact of right hand into foot or thigh to twist you deeper into that position for one more breath. You can do it, press even farther, and then exhale, come back to center. Inhale, mountain pose, biceps by the ears. Exhale, forward fold. We have another version of a forward fold here. It requires me taking off my socks to do it. Excuse my toes. You want to grab with your two-piece fingers, so your index and pointer finger, around your big toe. It's called a yogi toe lock. Feet are about hips width distance here. And then from there, you're going to start to straighten through the legs, dropping the weight of your head, using that grip around your toes to pull your heart space down farther towards your toes. Whew. My computer made a weird noise. I think everything's okay. Everyone can still hear me, right? Yes, okay, we're good. Awesome. From here, pulling your heart space in deeper. Again, with this position, if you have straight legs, bend your elbows out towards the sides to fold farther into the posture. Shaking head no, shaking head yes. Releasing the weight of the head, feeling that release through the low back. And then exhale, release the grip. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step the feet back. And pause. We're skipping the flow, but it comes at a cost. So we're gonna do 3 yogi push-ups, and then we're gonna take a flow. So we're gonna do 3. If that sounds like hell, this is the time when you bring your knees down to the mat. Take the modified version, right? Maybe start with that, and then if you still have energy for that last 3rd push-up, then maybe you move into the push-up from there. So from here, a couple of things. We're building core work as we stay in this plank position. So spread your fingers super wide in the mat. My hands are spread so wide in the mat. Spread them out nice and wide. Rock your shoulders above the palms of your hands. So see if you're pressing back and rounding your spine. You really want straight spine, pressing up and out of the palms. From there, make sure your heels are above the balls of your feet. Tuck your tailbone down towards your heels. Engage the glutes. That's gonna cause your navel to contract. It's gonna cause your abs to engage, right? So inhale, push up and out of those palms. Separate the shoulder blades, but the space between the shoulder blades on your back. And then exhale, come halfway down, hovering in that 90-degree angle, holding it there for 2 and 1, and then inhaling to push back up. You've got 2 more of those. Exhale, come halfway down, hover there for 3, 2, 1, push back up. Last one, here you go. Coming down halfway, hovering here. Elbows are right in next to the ribs, and then exhale, press back up. And then from here, move through your flow. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog. And from here, you might pedal out the feet again. Last downward facing dog of class. To really feel the difference in the hips, maybe taking some of those hip flexor stretches, bending one knee a lot, straightening through the other, and then switching, seeing how that feels. And then from here, inhale your right leg up off the mat, and then exhale, bend through the right knee, plant that right knee outside of right hand and right wrist, coming into a pigeon pose, right side. We want that right knee out super wide, maybe even off of your mat. Mine is off of my mat. That helps to protect the knee. Flex through that right foot especially. That helps to protect the knee. So pointed toe, everybody knows, pointed toe. Flex foot is that 90-degree flex through the ankle, yes. Do that on the front leg. And then square the weight of the hips. So we're gonna wanna dump all the way over to the right side, kind of rock onto that right hip. Really square hips back even. Make sure that back leg is straight towards the back of your space. Maybe look over right shoulder. See if that leg is splayed out to the side. If it is, toe heel it in so it's straight back. And then look forward, inhale, and then exhale. Fold forward, down, coming onto forearms, or maybe even heart space comes down to the mat. This is a position that a lot of folks in yoga classes will use blocks for. So if you have anything like that, the point of the block is to hold the weight of your upper body so you don't just dump the weight of your body down towards the ground and potentially injure your knee as it takes on that weight, right? Everyone looks pretty good. Another thing, yes, I see the bolster. So this is where the blanket or the towel would come in handy. If you find that flexibility means that your knee, there's no way your knee's gonna get down to the mat, or if your knee's down to the mat, your hip is really high up off of the mat, then you would use a towel or a blanket, put it under that right front hip, and use that to hold some of the weight. It's the same idea, as a little bit of a block. So you can use a block under a book, whatever, or to help you get a little bit of height. The bolster helps because we want to make sure that our knee is a joint that works in two directions, right? It's supposed to work in two directions. You bend forward, you bend back. You don't bend side to side. We're twisting our knee here. We don't want to put weight and pressure in a direction that our knee is not meant to bend. So giving it a little bit of a kickstand there, a little bit of a weight share with a blanket is great, or a block, or you use those blocks in front for your hands to make sure that as you come down, you can do so with control. You can make sure that you give your hips the time they need to open as you move farther into the posture. Nice and smooth. Take 2 more cycles of breath here. And then we're gonna exhale to press our hands down to the mat, to come out of it. Tuck the back toes, kick the right foot back. Maybe you move into that downward facing dog again, pedal out the feet. Feel the difference in the hips. We just gave our right hip like what, 2-3 minutes to open, and it's a huge difference between the sides, especially, you know, after all of that intense cardio you were doing. Inhale, left leg towards the back of your space. Exhale, bend the left leg, plant it outside of left ankle. Oh my God, of left wrist, not ankle. Left knee is outside of left wrist. Setting up half pigeon on the other side. And everyone here in the live stream looks good, but for anyone on the Instagram who is watching this tomorrow, if you feel any pinching in your knee in a half pigeon, this is a pose you would skip or take the modified version of, figure 4. I talk about this a lot. We do this one a lot in my classes, but it's just a nice lower impact way to come into the posture. So if you're finding that like a bolster under your knee isn't helping or the blocks aren't helping, you're gonna cross on this side, your left ankle over your right knee. You're gonna lay back and you're gonna reach underneath your right thigh, pulling that left shin in towards your body. It's that same IT band stretch. It's just a little bit gentler of an option. You can build your flexibility from there. If you've had knee problems, maybe you do that one too. Otherwise, we're continuing to try to move farther into this pigeon pose. Pigeon pose can become more challenging with 2 adjustments that you're welcome to take at any time. If this all feels good, pigeon pose becomes more challenging the more parallel your front shin is, in this case your left shin, to the top of the mat. So maybe you toe heel your left foot farther up, and then from there, squaring the hips again, make sure we're not dumping it all into the left side as it becomes more challenging, squaring the hips again, coming back down. You can check in on the squaring of the hips. Like for everyone right now, everyone see how their hips feel. Does it feel like the weight is even between the 2 sides? See if it feels like they do. And then from here, really press the shoelace portion of your back right foot down into the mat. See how all of a sudden the stretch intensifies as you press into the top shoelace portion of your right foot. What that's doing, what that pressing is doing, is forcing your right leg to engage, forcing your right hip to move and rotate down more towards the ground, aka it's squaring your hips more towards the ground, making it more challenging, but getting even deeper into this amazing, amazing healthy hip opener stretch. Take 2 more cycles of breath here. Such a luxury to have these like nice long half pigeons at the end of class. From here, you're tucking your back toes, you're kicking your front leg back. We're in this downward facing dog. And then from here, bring the knees down to the mat. Sit back on your heels and kick your legs forward towards the front of your space.
We're gonna take a forward fold before we close out class. So inhale, big stretch towards the top of the room, towards the sky, and then exhale, forward fold, grabbing for the outsides of your feet. You might have to bend your knees to get there. If you do, that's totally fine. Bend the knees, grab for the feet, and then exhale to straighten legs towards the front of the room. Inhale to puff up your chest towards your toes, and then exhale, fold your heart space down towards your shins. We're gonna take like 5 or 6 deep, full, smooth cycles of breath here in this forward fold. Each inhale, you think about stretching through the top of your head even longer. Each exhale, you think about bringing your heart down closer to your legs. If you've got the outsides of your feet or you've got your toes, eventually you're trying to interlace your hands around your feet. Or if you have that, you're maybe grabbing for your wrist. Hello. Hello, welcome. We're just at the end of this class here. So thanks to everyone for joining. We're in this forward fold, last couple minutes here. We start at 5 p.m. Eastern every day, and then it goes for an hour until 6. So we're so close to Savasana here. Keep folding forward and down. And then from here, exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae. We're stacking our head on top of our hips, but head comes up last. So we're really rounding and unfurling, coming to stack our head on top of our shoulders, on top of our hips. Inhale to reach arms up and bring knees up towards the sky so your heels press down into the mat. Reach arms forward towards the front of your space and then start to rock backwards. Nice and slow, using a little bit of core work to bring us down close to the mat. And then gently bringing your back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Just get a little bit of a low back massage here, rocking side to side. Maybe bringing your forehead in towards your knees. Maybe grabbing for opposite elbow across your shins. Rolling forward and backwards and side to side. Take another breath here. And then exhale, release. Set up your Savasana. So I recommend heels coming out nice and wide, toes flapping open. Relax your head down to the mat. Stretch arms long towards your toes. Rotate palms up towards the sky. And let your eyes flutter closed. Savasana is the only pose in yoga where having your eyes closed is part of the instruction for the posture. The whole sequence of yoga is intended to exhaust the body in order to exhaust the mind, to help get us all a little closer towards finding that moment of clarity and meditation. So I'm going to give you your Savasana on your own here. I invite you to take a nice long one. Typically in yoga classes, especially in New York City yoga classes where space and time are always limited, you never get a really nice long Savasana. You've got 2 or 3 minutes, and then you've got to clear the room and get your stuff and check your phone, and you're running late for the next thing, and is there going to be a line for the showers, and all of that stress and anxiety kind of bleeds into Savasana sometimes. Here, your time and your space is your own, so you can really find that moment of clarity, melt down into the mat, release any tension, and really enjoy this moment that you created for yourself. My name's Olivia. I'm doing these classes every single day at 5 p.m. This class will live on Instagram for 24 hours until tomorrow's class, so you can find it on my live story at Mind Body Glitter. So my Instagram is Mind Body Glitter. It's public, share away. And if anyone is watching this on Instagram, namaste. Thank you all for joining. I will see you again tomorrow.